Yeah, well, basically it was organised chaos. We arrived on time for everything. We got to the venue an hour early, as they'd requested, due to the expected rain. When we got there, I looked at the programme and they had Gary Buckland schedules for 10 rounds, when it's a 12-round fight. So I queried that and they said, oh, it's okay, as we sorted. I said, well, can we have it clarified, like? Then there was another one or two issues later on. Gary was supposed to be down on second, then he said he's going on fourth, then he said he might go on sixth. And I said, hold on, man, this is a WBC 12-round title fight, like, you know, what's going on? Just messing us around, basically, just absolute nonsense. The end result then, obviously, Murray fought. We were due to go on straight after Murray. Hundreds of fans invaded the ring. There was no real efforts to get them out of the ring. They just run riot in the ring. The ropes were snapped. Some of the boards went through. And as a consequence, they couldn't continue the show. We were told that the ring had collapsed, so we couldn't box. And then they came back about 10 minutes later and said, well, hold on, we'll try and get someone to fix it now. We'll get back to you. 20 minutes later, they said, no, that's it, the fight's off. You still get paid, but the fight's off.
What was the general security like there on the day?
There was plenty of security around the dressing room area and around the ring, it looked like, but obviously when Murray fought, when Murray walked to the ring, he was spat on, abused. They were screaming, throwing things at him. They had a nightmare getting to the ring and coming out, obviously. And then just loads of fans just jumped up in the ring, hundreds of them just jumped in the ring, and the ring collapsed.
What was the general reception you had in Argentina overall?
It was good, to be honest. Yeah, we picked up at the airport. We had a lovely hotel, well looked after, good facilities. Everything was fine there. It was just the actual. We tried to arrange check weigh-in, and we were told 3 different names. Go to this hotel room number, this room number. We finally found the room number. Got there. There's nobody there. Come downstairs. He said, "Oh, I was having coffee." Come back up at 11 o'clock and we'll do it then. Gets up there at 11 o'clock and there's nobody there again. That sort of thing, like, you know, disorganised chaos.
What did the WBC officials or the British Boxing Board of Control officials do on the night to try and resolve the problems?
To be honest, the Boxing Board of Control official was there, present obviously. The Murray fight was in the ring just before Gary's fight, which I don't think is a good idea. If you got one Boxing Board Control official there looking after the 2 boxers, how can you look after Murray's interests as ringside and look at ours when we're in the dressing room waiting to go out? So we didn't see him. We didn't get to see him. We seen him before the fight, obviously, prior to the fight, and afterwards. But at the time of what was going on, didn't see him.
Have you lodged any complaint, or Gary, has he lodged any complaint with the Board of Control or the WBC or the Argentinian boxing authorities?
Ricky Hatton, Gary's promoter, is going to lodge in the complaint with the Boxing Board of Control and the WBC, and ourselves then will speak to our area council and just lodge our feelings, really.
And you mentioned earlier about the way to the ring you were expected to walk regarding the slippery surfaces.
Yeah, very slippery. They painted, there's a series of steps, about 6 steps coming up from the dressing room up to the pitch area, and looked like recently painted to me, but the paint was, you know, it was like an ice skating rink, really, really slippery. I spoke to one of the stewards there, and he basically sort of gestured to me, "It'll be okay, just put your hand on his shoulder as they're walking up the steps." It was a nightmare, honestly. That show wouldn't take place over here.
What advice would you give to any British boxers or European boxers who might be travelling to Argentina in the near future?
I shouldn't really generalise on. I don't know I've never been to Argentina for a boxing show before, but this particular one, the officials there were out of sight. We didn't really get to see them. It was just, whereas over here we have one whip who sort of sorts everything out. Over there there's about 10 whips doing nothing.
But you can confirm Gary was actually paid for the fight?
Gary is due to be paid for the fight. He hasn't been officially paid yet, but as far as we're aware of the night, he'll be paid in full. Ricky said he's definitely pursuing he just said we'll get paid in full, and if anything, he'll try and get a bit of compensation.
Right.
You know, because Gary was devastated. He said, okay, he can get paid. He said, you can get paid in full. It's not just the money, is it? You know, he said, I can't believe it. I know people say, oh, it's the best fitness, best he's ever been in his life, but Gary's never had so long to train for a fight, and he doesn't really like to train for 3 months. It's too far ahead from him. He likes 6 to 8 weeks, but he had 3 months for this, and he trained for 3 months, and he was in great condition. His weight was spot on. Came in at 9.3.5. Everything was great. No injuries, and we were just on a roll. Like, you know, we couldn't see this guy beating Gary. You know, he's a good fighter. He lost on points to Chris John for the world title. You know, he's no mug, but I just don't think he would have kept Gary off for 12 rounds. Gary had been too intense for him.
At what point were you told that Gary's fight might be in jeopardy?
Just before the Murray fight, they were just not so much saying he was in jeopardy, but couldn't tell us exactly when he was going on. Either just before Murray or just after. And I thought, well, it's a 12-round WBC silver title. You know, that's a big thing. It'd be a big thing over here, and it was just like pushing under the carpet. It was very low. You know, thought we can squeeze in. You know, we might squeeze in the flow to fight, or we might, and then they put 2 women on instead. I thought, well, that don't seem right. And obviously, when they invaded the ring, there was not a good effort to get made to get him out of the ring in time, and more got into the ring and got damaged as a consequence.
Did you just get the general impression that the Argentinian promoters just didn't really care if Gary boxed or not?
To be honest, yeah, it was all about Martinez, which understandable. He's a superstar over there. But basically, as soon as the Martinez fight was over, the show was over. They might as well have just put Martinez on because that's what it was about. But that's understandable. But no one who's travelled 14,000 miles there and back for a title fight. And Gary, it's not about the money, not just about the money. He wanted that belt, and we were confident of coming back with it.
After you knew the fight was called off, what was Gary's reaction?
He was devastated. Because they called it off, then it was on 2 or 3 times. We just kept his gloves on him, just sat him down, just had to relax for a bit. And then they said they got somebody in now going to try and fix the ring. So we sat there for 10-15 minutes while they apparently tried to fix the ring. And they came back and said that stewards or officials there said no, it wasn't going to be repaired, so the show's off.
Did someone from Gary's management team, Ricky Hatton, or any of the Hatton promotion people go and inspect the ring to see if something could be done?
I'm not certain. I couldn't really comment on that because I don't know for certain. But I just know what we were told. We couldn't see the ring from where we were. We were told that the ring is invaded. There's loads of fans in the ring, and they caused a lot of damage to the ropes, one of the posts, and some of the boards. So it couldn't be repaired at the time. And it was open air. It was pissing down with rain.
What would you like to see done regarding this? Sort of, is there anything that someone needs to be punished or fined?
I think the Argentinian boxing board need to sort out their arrangements with as a whip. Get a whip on to get the program done properly, the order of the bouts done properly, and somebody there coming back and forth officiating. There's nobody really officiating. We couldn't tell who was in charge of who. You know, there's a big difference over here. We get to the show, we know who the whip is, we know who the boxing board control officials are. There was none of that there. So
when can Gary expect to be in action again? He hasn't boxed since November now.
Well, Gary literally came back in the gym yesterday and sparred with his brother Mitchell, who's got a fight next week, and he was in again this morning. So he's still in the gym. He doesn't want to lose his edge. We just hope they get something as quick as possible for him.